share this planet as a result of a magnetic flux fracturing the barrier between our universes. These rumours are from a reliable source, and we fear that this uprising may generate a renewal of the violence that followed the Otherworlders' original incursion into our world, just over a century ago. For those unfamiliar with recent history, please advise this department, and we can provide you with the documentation regarding the Troubles, the 70-year period prior to our treaty with the others. You may have been made aware that we have not been idle in our attempts to ensure the safety of the human race, vis-à-vis a possible vampire uprising. We consider the vampires to be leaders, and therefore the most dangerous among the others, since they wield most power and offer a degree of control over other species. After the commencement of the Troubles, our department established a small enclave of humans who seemed naturally immune to all vampire magic and glamours. These people were reserved by us, and a process of selection was undertaken in order to produce a subspecies of human who could be used, if necessary, to fight and overcome the vampires without risk of their being infected with a vampire demon, communicated through the vampire's bite. For further information, please refer to this department. This enclave was somewhat divisive in terms of government approval and was largely disbanded prior to the signing of the Treaty for Peace. The whereabouts of the engineered humans is currently unknown. It is the opinion of this department that moves should be made to reconvene these individuals, or as many as remain alive. We are aware that it is some 35 years since the termination of the genetic experimentation, and many of these persons may have found adjusting to life away from the compound to have been beyond their capabilities. Sirs, your urgent attention is required on this matter. Yours, Deputy Minister for the Department. Chapter 1. Blood. Blood on my hands. Dripping onto the carpet, staining my sleeves, staining everything I touch. Jessie. I jerked awake at the touch on my shoulder to see Liam, my co-worker, his face upside down in my field of vision. What the hell are you doing in my bedroom? Life began to pull together in front of me. Blurry shapes gradually resolving into boxes, weird noises into computer beeps and hums. And why does my bedroom smell weird? I can only suggest that's because you collect mould. Liam moved away and I heard the rattling of mugs being collected. But this is the office, such as it is. I sat up slowly. My head had been resting on a sheaf of A4 paper and my left cheek had seemed running down it from the edge of the package. Oh, bollocks. I stretched my arms and yawned. How long have I been asleep? 14 emails, 2 phone calls and a cup of coffee with donuts. I thought the donuts might wake you up, but you just dribbled a bit in your sleep. I am going to open your next pay packet and do something spectacularly horrible inside it. I yawned again and scratched at my head. Oh, York Council do that already. It's called my pay slip. Liam went out to the kitchen, fistful of mugs. Working as we did, in the Otherworld liaison office of York Council, meant lots of contact with the Otherworlders, acting as their PA, which in my opinion stood for Professional Apologiser, and tranquilising them for enforcement to deal with when they got out of line. It also meant a hefty dose of standing on school stages explaining to hyperactive teenagers what being the vampire really meant. However, it did not mean earning very much money. They'd have us paid in book tokens if they thought we could read. Endless cups of coffee were our coping mechanism. Why so tired? Liam went on. You and Sil having wild, rampant sex all night every night? He sounded slightly wistful, but then he and his girlfriend had a small baby to keep them up at night rather than anything rampant. And please say yes, because anyone who lives with 2 gorgeous vampires had better not be watching late-night telly and crocheting into the small hours. A small burst of pain erupted, as though someone had detonated a bomb just under my navel. But I contained it, walled it in. I don't. Live with gorgeous vampires or watch late-night telly? Because being the girlfriend of the city vamp and sharing a house with him and his sidekick qualifies you on the first count, your lack of knowledge of Dexter would seem to rule out the second. More clanking and the sound of kettle filling.